If you want to learn how to get more traffic and more sales to your Etsy shop, you need to understand your Etsy shop stats so that you know what's working and what isn't in your Etsy shop. You've probably taken a look at your Etsy shop stats before, tried to figure out what the data is telling you, and maybe you felt a little bit confused about all the different categories of numbers when it comes to Etsy stats, what the difference is between views and visits, and generally just what it all means for you. So we're gonna break that down in this video together so that you understand not only your stats, but what you need to do to increase your sales on Etsy. There are a lot of different types of Etsy stats, and while understanding where your traffic comes from is important, as well as views and visits and the difference between those two, I want to start with the basics. So let's just start with Etsy orders. You probably know what that is already. It's straightforward, but orders are the number of total orders that customers have placed in your shop. This should not be confused with the number of items sold or Etsy sales. Those two metrics are very different. For example, if a customer orders from you multiple items in your shop, that is one order, but it could be multiple sales because Etsy counts each different item as a sale. So if you sold 4 different things in your shop, that would be one order, but 4 sales. On the other hand, you should also note that Etsy doesn't count duplicate items within an order as multiple sales. So if one person ordered 3 of the same party printable, that seems unlikely, but if they did, or 3 of the same t-shirt in your print-on-demand Etsy shop, you should know that's going to actually count as one sale, even though you sold 3 of the item. So keep that in mind. Orders are not the same thing as sales. And this is why you can typically see a difference if you're looking at someone's shop or your own shop between the number of orders and the number of sales that you have. Now let's talk about conversion rates. A conversion rate is a percentage that tells you how many people out of your total number of visits are actually buying from your shop. This stat is incredibly important to Etsy sellers because it tells them how often people are seeing their product and how often that group of people is deciding to buy from them. The average Etsy conversion rate is 1 to 2%. So if you hit this number or higher on Etsy, then this is a good indicator that your products are probably performing pretty well, especially if you're new. Now, you can obviously reach a conversion rate of much higher than that. Some of my shops have a conversion rate of 6 to 8%. It's definitely possible to be higher than the average, but if you are at the average of 1 to 2%, you are doing okay. Now let's talk about revenue. Revenue is the total amount of money that your Etsy shop has earned over a specific period of time. This does not include any of the fees that are later subtracted, such as Etsy fees, credit card transaction fees, or the shipping fees that you through labels that you might purchase if you're a physical product seller. If you want to see what your net profit is, which is revenue minus fees, then you have your net profit through Etsy, which doesn't include any supply costs. Then you're actually going to find this under your finances tab on Etsy's website. Now let's break down these stats about your Etsy shop traffic and where it is all coming from. So you're going to see that Etsy says how shoppers found you. Looking at this stats page, Etsy provides information about how your shoppers ended up on your Etsy shop. This information is broken down into the number of visits that Etsy brought to you, and there's 3 categories within that: Etsy app and other pages, Etsy search, and Etsy marketing and SEO. We'll get into that in a second. And the number of visits that you as a seller brought to your own shop, which includes direct and other traffic, social media, and then any paid Etsy ads that you might run. Let's talk about what each of those things means. First, Etsy app and Etsy pages. This is the traffic you receive only from the Etsy app itself and excludes Etsy search. This means customers who are scrolling on the Etsy app and find you on the mobile app are going to be found in this category. The next category is Etsy marketing and Etsy SEO. How much traffic you have received from Etsy's off-site ads and other search engine results such as Google or Bing. It might sound confusing because it says Etsy SEO, but this actually is not your Etsy SEO traffic. This is not traffic that comes from your organic Etsy search customers. This is only referring to Etsy SEO that is done for you off platform. So when Etsy pays to rank products on Google, this is going to be considered Etsy marketing and SEO. Now, your direct and other traffic, this is traffic that you have coming in from any kind of direct links. So, for example, if someone clicked your exact URLs in emails you sent out from your website or a blog, this is where that traffic is going to be. And then social media, this one's pretty straightforward too. This is going to be any traffic that you have coming from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, or any other kind of social media app. And finally, we have Etsy ads. This is how much traffic you have coming in from any ads that you pay for placement within the Etsy search results. You don't have to use Etsy ads. You can get great sales and traffic organically solely based on Etsy search, but Etsy ads is an option for you if you choose to use it. Okay, so now let's dive into the difference between views and visits, because I know it's a little bit confusing. People ask me a lot, and I have over 13,000 sales on Etsy since 2020, and it's funny how often this question comes up. Visits and views are two very different metrics. Visits refers to the total number of buyers who visited your shop over a given period. So think one visit is one visitor. If you had a brick and mortar shop, imagine one person walking through your shop's doors. That is a visit. Views, on the other hand, refers to the total number of views on all of your products in your shop for any given point. And one person can have multiple views. Let's say someone came into your shop, they looked at 4 different products and then your Etsy shop homepage. That would be 5 views and 1 visit. While visits and views could be the same number, actually you should be expecting to see a higher number of views than visits. And we want the views number to be higher. The reason is because if people are only coming into your shop as a one-time visit, looking at one product and then leaving, it seems that they may not be that engaged with your products, and this isn't a good sign for sales. So what we want to see is people coming into your shop as a single visit and clicking around and looking at multiple products. Because when they shop around and they're engaged with your items, they're much more likely to make a purchase. So if you find that the number view and visit are almost identical in your shop, your goal should be to try and increase your Etsy shop views. A couple of ways that you can do this are to encourage your customers to shop around by linking to other products in your product descriptions and encouraging them to buy multiple items with coupon discount codes if they purchase more than one thing. By monitoring both your visits and views, you gain a better understanding of your shop's performance and you can identify key areas for improvement in your shop. I hope that this video helped you understand all of your Etsy stats and you're not feeling confused anymore and you know exactly what each stat on your Etsy stats homepage means. If you would like to learn more about how to grow your Etsy shop and how to leverage your shop's data to make more sales, be sure to follow our YouTube channel.